Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect. All right, I'm the brother Yawanathan, back with another quick lesson. Lord willing, is edifying. And this is a term that I want to bring out that we should all get familiar with because, there's like some scandal thing going on in Britain right now, in Europe, concerning debanking. And so I looked up the definition of the word debanking, also known as unbanking, is when a bank chooses to no longer offer banking services to a customer. So right off rip, you know that anybody that has a bank account, you are a customer of the bank. You're a client, you're a customer. That means you make the bank money through your services, through you using their services, should I say. You're a customer, all right? Keep that in mind. Even credit unions. Can credit unions freeze accounts? Yes, if your bank or credit union receives an order from the court of law, to freeze your bank account, it must do so immediately without notifying you first. Unfortunately, this means you'll likely find out that your account has been frozen when you use your debit card, withdraw from an ATM, or log into your online account. So this thing could basically happen suddenly. And debanking is a real thing. But what's going on right now, this guy, Nigel Farage, which I don't know too much about him. I just, did some light research and found out he's like an ex-politician or something like that. But, he's basically in that world. He's in that political world, and he be saying a lot of controversial things. And recently he said that we are on the verge of banks running word checks on customer social media. And now there's a big scandal about him saying it because a lot of people obviously are shook up by that. Meaning what? The banks could basically go through your social media accounts, do word searches. So let's say you got certain buzzwords. Let's say you got a YouTube channel that talks about vaccinations, and that might be one of the words they decide to search. Now, if you are anti-vaxxer, well, they're not going to do service with you. They're not going to allow you to, use their bank services to channel your money, whether it be, your direct deposits, buying and selling, whatever the case may be. So this is basically a grave threat to people's freedom, but like I said, there's like a pushback on it. There's like a whole scandal right now. The guy's name is Nigel Farage, former member of the European Parliament. So, he's in that political world. And there's a pushback because basically they're saying, no, that's illegal. Banks can't do that. But yet people are being debanked and they're not being given any explanation. So this goes in line with everything that we've been seeing going on. And like the elder apostles of Great Millstone said, whatever you see going on over there in London, in Britain, over there in the East, in Europe, it makes its way over here to America eventually. But we already see that with Bank of America, JP Morgan, people's accounts being closed and they're not being given any reason why. Well, maybe this could be part of the reason. And, where would this guy just make this up from? He had to have some type of inside information, or he has to know something to say that publicly. He wouldn't just say that just to say it. Now, we know ultimately it fits in the agenda with the elites, man, with the central banking families, the Edomites that the Bible speaks of, the wicked, the ones that rule this world, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, etc. The central banking families, they want this agenda of this CBDC, which is going to give them even more control. But they setting the stage with this thing, man. See, the CBDC is not just a currency, it's linked with a digital identity. Do your homework on the World Economic Forum. I've been watching too many interviews, man. The World Economic Forum saying that the CBDC is going to be implanted under your skin and how it's linked to a digital ID system. That's what they want to bring. That's basically tying into what? The MOTB, the end all be all of their agenda, which is the mark of the beast, RFID microchip implants for everybody. And that's going to be how you're identified. So there's not going to be no more fraud, no more scams, none of that, because your identity is directly linked to a biometric device known as a RFID, radio frequency identification chip, microchip. And this is what we've been telling you, man. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Rashad, we've been telling you here at Great Millstone that this is the dystopian world that they're creating. There's a new world order, full total control. You can't even speak certain things on social media, otherwise you'll be excommunicated from society. And first and foremost, you would have to have the chip anyways. So that's already a deal breaker for anybody that just doesn't want the chip. You just have no part of this anyways. But those of you idiots that are going to take the chip, that's down with this agenda, and you think this is the new wave of the future, and etc., whatever you believe, you're going to be asked out, man. You think you just going along with the elites, you bend into their will, they're going to entreat you with favor. You don't know who you're dealing with. This man is the devil. He's never going to entreat you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans with favor. And even his own people. He's perpetually going to shit on you if you allow him to. So we've been warning you about it. Don't trust this devil. The scriptures say never trust thine enemy. And now look, banks are working with credit agencies to roll out word checks of social media accounts to assess how worthy of banking facility members of the public are. So they're telling you how worthy you are to even bank with them when you're their customer. You're giving them business. If everybody went right now to the bank, which this is called a bank run, and pulled their money out, the bank would collapse. The business would literally go bankrupt. Because the bank is a business. These smaller banks are just businesses that are set up that ultimately get funded or get, their chain of command comes from the central banks. The Federal Reserve here in America, that's what it's called. And now they got the FedNow app. All right, so they're moving with this thing, man. Brexit's Nigel Farage, if that's how you say his name, tells Breitbart at his new freedom of speech campaign gains momentum. Having a bank account is essential to exist in a modern world, Western world, emphasis on Western world, and yet moves to further debank the public if they hold views that don't align with the prevailing elite view, are developing. Brexit leader turned anti-woke capitalism campaigner Nigel Farage told Breitbart News Daily on SiriusXM Patriot Friday morning. Far from merely being institutions which serve an important role in society by taking deposits and making loans and making some profit by doing so, banks have now become highly politically active. And I seen that when when did this faggot come into damn man, I hope I don't get a strike for that. Barack Obama, when he came into office, 2008, you started seeing a lot of banks, putting that stupid ass pride flag, which, there's nothing stupid about the rainbow, but them using it as a flag for their pride, for their abominations, that's wicked. That's evil as hell. But you see the banks, they started putting their flags up on there, the little advertisements on the screen. When you go up to the ATM, you got the screen. It's always advertising some sodomite shit. And that's a part of that political activity. Because that LGBTQ thing, that's a big part of American politics and all over the world and other parts of the world too. That's part of that wine of this devil, man. The wine of his fornication, which is his philosophies, his ideologies, and he puts that in a form of politics. And politics becomes policy, and policies become laws, and laws become your life, your everyday life, how you supposed to live. So basically, if you against homosexuality, you can't bank with us. And if you can't bank with us, you can't bank with any banks because they all tied back to the central banks. Once the central bankers excommunicate you from society, you're done. You won't be able to do shit in this world. It says this is a campaign he has taken up to increasing effect in the United Kingdom after he was debanked for not aligning with his bank's newfound left-wing values. So that guy himself got debanked. So if he could get debanked, any one of us could get debanked. I'm not really going to read all of this. Yeah, these lessons, Jake got a short attention span. I'm going to link that in the description. I just wanted to show you the drama that's going on, basically what the Lord got this dude stirring up over there. Debanked NatWest customers left without answers in wake of Farage scandal. So people are actually getting debanked. He's not talking shit, but Of course, when you go to these mainstream news, central bank owned media sites, they're gonna say, no, this is BS. That's not true. They always say it's not true, and then they turn around and do it anyways. Because they know you people are idiots anyways, man. You people don't pay attention to nothing. But all I did was look up Farage, and, this is all the news that was coming up. HSBC CEO on Farage Cow spat, we did not exit clients based on their lawful personal views. A lot of people saying, oh, that, he's just talking shit. Nigel Farage wrote, as a Muslim who's had accounts closed, can I expect the same response? Yeah, man. Yeah, UK Treasury asks FCA for debanking answers after Farage debacle. Damn, I know I fucked that one up. Salakia. Let me look that word up. Debacle? I don't know.
Debacle.
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 Debacle. A sudden and another one. Damn. All these $1 million words tonight. Ignominious. I'm pretty sure I said that right. A sudden and ignominious failure, a fiasco. And that's fitting to, the times that we in. This devil, the so-called white man, is stirring up fiascos and, all these scandals and stuff to bring in his agenda. He's making people's lives a living hell. He's crunching you people to do what? To give your life to him. Job 2:4. And saying, answered the Lord and said, skin for skin. Yeah, all that a man hath will he give for his life. Let me look that up in the NLT real quick. Job 2:4. Saying, replied to the Lord, skin for skin, a man will give up everything he has to save his life. So basically that's a position that you people are being put in. This devil is taking everything from you. He's not even really taking it from you per se. You're giving it up. You're giving it up to save your so-called life in this evil, wicked world. To so-called go back to normal. You people are giving up all your rights to this damn devil. And you're okay with it. Until he's going to turn around and sting you with that venom, which he already has through the vaccine. But we know with the venom, the ultimate venom is going to be the chip. All right? And that's an ancient understanding. That's ancient wisdom. That when people don't have shit and they're in debt, first of all, Proverbs 22:7, I brought that out in my last lesson. I usually bring that out a lot because it tells you that the borrower is servant to the lender. And that's an ancient law. That's an ancient practice, whatever you want to call it, ancient culture. If a man is in debt to another man, he basically belongs to that man until his debt is paid off. Or until the year of Jubilees in our tradition, in the Hebrew Israelites, laws, statutes, and commandments, the statutes of life. We forgive each other every 7 years, but we know you devils, you charge usury and you don't keep the year of Jubilee or the year of release. Neither one of them, because you're the devil. You got fucking $305 trillion of debt loaned out in all these nations and shit in the world. And you basically know that all these people belong to you. They understand that. They understand that you people belong to them by law. You're legally owned by the central bankers. And you're okay with it though. That's the part that's fucked up, is that you don't know what it comes with. You don't know what you're gonna have to do to serve this devil. See, actually celebrities and these fucking Hollywood actors, they know. These Jake celebrities, these Jake drill rappers and all these dudes, not really the drill rappers, but the real big rappers, ask them, they know what comes with serving the devil. They know what comes with giving their life to Satan, selling out. They basically want all you people to sell out. Taking the chip is basically the ultimate sellout. That's what it really is. Let's keep it 100. That's what taking the chip is. You are a sellout. Why? Because that's a digital oil, and you basically pledging your service and your life. You giving your life to serve the so-called white man and his beliefs. This is Genesis 47. I actually wanted to read it in the NLT. Excuse me. I'm gonna try to skim through it quick. Genesis 47, and I'm going to start at verse 13. This is the famine in Egypt, all right? This is the history of that famine that happened in Egypt, in which they say that the pyramids that were built, the infrastructure of the pyramids is what helped them survive that famine, which those pyramid infrastructures came through Joseph, all right, one of the forefathers of the nation of Israel, particularly of the tribe of Ephraim, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. So while he was in Egypt, he was basically like governor. He was basically like second in command over Egypt, and he built these pyramids knowing that it would be a famine through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Washai through prophecy. He knew that the Lord was going to bring a heavy famine, not only in Egypt, but in that whole region. So he had Joseph prepare and basically stock up. So I'm just giving you, the context at this time. These people were feeling the famine, the Canaanites and all these different other nations that surround Egypt. They were coming to Egypt for help. And that's what made Egypt so great. Without this time period, without Joseph, Egypt would have just been another regular kingdom. Like, let's say, I don't know, man. There's a bunch of kingdoms that people don't really know about. The dynasty of such and such, king such and such. People only know the notable men of history because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say 10 times out of 10, any of these notable historical kings and, the guys that everybody knows, like Alexander the Great, Christopher Columbus, the Israelites always had something to do with it. That's why they blew up like that. So during this time in Egypt, if it wasn't for Joseph, nobody would have went to Egypt to get grain, to get bread and corn and all of that and wheat. Nobody would have went over there because they would have been dying in the famine too. So you can understand. All right. So Genesis 47 and 13, and there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. So this guy was preparing. This brother, our forefather Joseph, was preparing. He was stocking up basically because he saw what was going on. And he was being a prudent man, according to the scripture. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So he wasn't simple because he had, Pharaoh had the dream and he had interpreted that dream, which was about famine, the 7 years of plenteous and the 7 years of famine. So during that 7 years of plenteous, he stocked up. And then when the money, verse 15 right here, when the money started to fail, Joseph had pretty much everything on lock. All right, he cornered the market, so to speak. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence, for the money faileth? So there's going to come a time in this society when the money faileth and that digital dollar is going to take over. And guess what? The digital dollar is going to be tied to your biometric identity, which is ultimately going to be linked to the chip. All right. So there's going to be a time where we even going to be in a certain particular situation like that where, we're going to be in need of food and water, but we won't be able to use the standard of currency, which is going to be the microchip. Revelation 13 and 16, we won't be able to use that to buy and sell. So we're going to need food. We're going to need water. We're going to need bread. And we're going to call on Yahweh Shemel Washai. We're not going to have to go to Pharaoh of Egypt or, seek help from any heathen nations, man, especially the so-called white men, because the Lord is going to take care of us, just like the Lord took care of Jacob and his other sons, which also came to Egypt later on, to get help from the famine. And if it wasn't for the Lord sending Joseph and setting them up in that stead, we would have all died, man. Even our whole nation, man. Our forefathers would have died in the famine. So it says, and Joseph said, give your cattle and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. I'm going to read it in the NLT. Joseph replied, since your money is gone, bring me your livestock. I will give you food in exchange for your livestock. So again, the money failed. At this point, it wasn't even about money. Remember, we don't need money. We just need the things that money could buy. We just need water, food, shelter, clothes, whatever. But we don't need the actual money. It's just the way that this devil set it up in his wicked ways he entrapped us with this debt-based dollar, and that's why we need money, which we really don't need it. But in this current society, we do. But guess what? When the money fails, we won't need it. All we'll need is cattle. We'll need livestock, food, real food. We're not talking about supermarket food. That's not food, man. That's genetically modified organisms, fake meat, impossible meat, bug burgers. We don't want to be a part of that. That's what you people are going to be eating, even after taking a chip, thinking that that's going to save you. You're still going to be locked into his wicked ass nightmare, man. We want out of this shit, bro. We don't want to go deeper into it. We want to get the hell out of it. It says, and they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange. And that's a crazy still right there. He got a whole cattle, which is way more food just for some bread, just so they could eat in the now. Because remember, to basically have cattle and raise them, it costs money. To have your livestock, that costs money. But if somebody just give you some meat already dressed, already, whatever, seasoned, whatever, not seasoned, whatever, it's easier, just like now. That's what they doing to us now. We go to the supermarket, we buy some cuts of meat, and we call it a day. We never have to experience killing a cow and skinning it and cleaning it and all of that, dressing it. We never have to experience that, feeding them as they growing up, raising them up. We never get that chance to experience that part of life, man. And I would love to do that. We will do that in the kingdom, but I'm saying right now, the way this devil got it, he already stripped us bare of everything, and he's just making us full, relying on him. But the elect have woken up out of this matrix, man. We don't really need these devils. We don't need them at all. We need Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and there's food all around us, man. There's water all around us. So it says, so they, I read that, right? Yep. And he fed them with bread for all of their cattle for that year. Now, this is the main point. I'm going to read in the NLT. But that year ended, and the next year they came again and said, we cannot hide the truth from you, my Lord. Our money is gone, and all our livestock and cattle are yours. We have nothing left to give but our bodies and our land. See? So that's that, what Satan said. He said a man will give all that he have to save his life. So they didn't want to die in the famine. So they said, you know what? We'll put ourselves in captivity under you. We'll serve you. We'll give our bodies, and we'll give you our land, which is the most prized possession, basically. All right, that's what we're here on the earth to do. I mean, if you are here on the earth and your body is jacked up, that's hell. If you here on this earth and you don't got land, that's hell. If you living on somebody else's land and they oppressing you and you in slavery, that's fucking hell, man. In captivity, that's hell. We supposed to have healthy bodies and healthy land. So basically to sustain ourselves and our families, and we supposed to be being fruitful and multiplied, but we can't do that under this devil. So look what he's done, man. Just look what he's done. Think about this. Meditate on it. Look how he's entrapped us already. We already don't have nothing. And the little bit that we do got, he's planning on taking it right from under our feet. The little bit of shit that he gave us, he's fucking taking it back now. Because he wants you to basically lean on him and get that microchip. That's what he wants you to do. He wants you to lean on Pharaoh. There's a scripture that says that he'll be pricked in his hand. That's what he wants to do. So we already steps ahead of this devil here, man. All right. 2 Corinthians 2:11. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. And we got the history. We got the precepts here. We got the scriptures. The things that were written for our learning. We see how this man strategically has done this. This evil work that he's done. And just because he's used some ancient custom and backgrounds for certain things doesn't make it right. He's doing it in an evil, wicked way, and the Lord is not going to honor that. The Lord is going to honor the prayer of the poor, all right, the prayer of the humbled, which is the elect of the nation of Israel. So, yeah, pray and beg the Lord to deliver us out of here, man, because this devil is not going to give up. That's the Heavenly Father's will for him to go full force with this thing and bring in the chip and try everybody. So we want to be found worthy in that time to be delivered from the hour of temptation. We don't want to fall into that temptation because we do understand that it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, man. The way this devil's going to make it is not going to be easy for anybody. So, we just need that spirit to endure, that Holy Spirit that comes from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So we begging for that And Lord willing, we pass the test. So with that, I say, call Allah Yahweh Shemel Washai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Hope and pray you were edified. And Lord willing, I'll see you in the next one. Shalom.